If you are having trouble sleeping, one of the first remedies that you might reach for is a melatonin supplement, because we know that melatonin is the sleep hormone. The body produces it in the evening so that we can get that deep regenerative rest that we need. But here's the thing that isn't always talked about in those conversations about melatonin and sleep. And that is the fact that melatonin is produced from serotonin. Okay, so serotonin is a precursor to melatonin. Your body produces serotonin during the day, and then it converts that to melatonin later on in the evening. So what that also means is that good sleep actually does not start just in the evening. It has to do with how your entire day has gone. Okay, so good sleep really actually starts during the daytime. And this is really important to understand, because it can save you from so much experimentation and back and forth and trying different remedies and wondering why you're not able to get sleep. And I know this personally because I had many years where my sleep was erratic, and for many days, even in a week, would be non-existent. So I'm saying this from a place of profound experience, intimate experience with what it's like to not get enough sleep. Okay, so you really want ideally, get to the root cause, because when you get to the root cause, again, you're not looking outside for a million solutions. And then when you do decide to take a supplement, you're using it more to support your system, not just to try to force the body into a state that it clearly doesn't want to be in. Because if the body is saying, I can't sleep, there's a reason for that. Okay, and it's important to pay attention to it. So let's talk more about serotonin. And the most important thing to know about serotonin from my perspective is that it's produced during the day, and pretty much everything that we do in modern life kind of just goes against having, healthy levels of serotonin. That's my basic unscientific, but, personal experience, right? So, because one of the key things to producing serotonin is, there are foods, and basically eating whole foods, having a healthy gut, that is important from a nutritional perspective for serotonin production. Movement, exercise, getting enough natural light, sunlight, all of those things are also key for producing serotonin. But here's the big thing that for me matters the most is when it comes to mindset, when it comes to stress activities. We produce serotonin when we're in a much more focused state, right? So in many ways, I see serotonin as kind of like the opposite of dopamine, right? So we produce serotonin when, like I said, when we have this sense of not just focus, but also we've accomplished something, like that deep, profound sense of accomplishment. Like today I'm deciding that I'm going to try this new recipe, and maybe it takes me an hour, maybe it takes me 2 hours, but I'm going to spend this afternoon working on this recipe. Or I want to crochet or knit, and I'm going to sit down for a while and do that. Or I'm going to go work in the garden and finish that project. Or I'm going to, I'm going to learn how to draw mandalas and start learning how to do that. And I sit down for a while and I do that. That sense of just personal accomplishment, those types of things, that's what, from a sort of, I guess, from a more cognitive or activity perspective, those things help us to produce serotonin. So it's that sense of accomplishment, which is a very different sense of accomplishment from what produces dopamine, right? Because gambling, you can say you've won something when you gamble, right? It's an accomplishment, but it's a high, it's an extreme, right? Scrolling social media, that doom scrolling, that's the dopamine. So one thing to just understand about, serotonin is that if you just decide that you're going to do the opposite of pretty much most of what we do in modern life, you will support your body's ability to produce serotonin, which means you will naturally support your body's ability to wind down and go to sleep in the evening. Okay. And really that's the core message of this video, is that before you reach for the supplement, right? Before you say that, again, that you want to go take the melatonin supplement, like ask yourself, well, why is my body struggling to wind down? Because you could take the supplement and it may or may not work. And if it works, it most likely, like many supplements, will work for a while because we haven't gotten down to the core issue, which is how you're going about your day-to-day life, right, is not supporting what you need at nighttime. Okay, so that mindset piece is so important. For me, it was very key to really start paying attention to, like, what are the emotions and thoughts and feelings that I'm having, and how am I responding to life? Because, like I said, yes, at that time I was having difficulty sleeping because of stress, but also let's not forget that stress is very much about our perception. It's not just about what's happening. So even though the circumstances that I was experiencing from my perspective were stressful because it had to do with financial challenges, right? And I was going through like a big spiritual shift that, a lot of people will call a dark night of the soul. And all of that was legitimately happening. But at the same time, I could have also changed my perspective of it, right? And it wasn't until I changed my perspective of it also that the sleep started to change. Because the moment I was like, well, okay, so let's use a dark night of the soul, right, as a positive to actually create the change that we want. Because that is the whole point of going through a spiritual shift anyways. It's not to just stay in the dark or shadow side of it. It's to, reemerge, right? And to do something different about your life, not just intellectually, but it should be reflected in one's outer experience, right? So making that shift, again, that starts to calm the body, calms the nervous system, because even though things don't shift immediately, but now the fact that you have just opened your mind, opened your awareness, opened your perception, opened your concept of what is possible, that alone, a lot of what the body needs is just about mindset, right? Like because wherever our mind goes, the body just follows, right? For better or for worse, it just does. That's why things like meditation can be so powerful, because if you can get yourself into a certain state, your body will follow you right there. If it's a good state, and the same is true if it's a not so good state. So, but use that power of your mind to then help to get those hormones where they need to be, because it's also a very empowering process, right? You become less reliant on the outside, and you're able to really tune into your body and give your body what it truly needs, which ultimately our bodies really just want our presence more than anything. It wants that more than anything, okay? So this all correlates to your sleep, because a lot of sleep is, again, like I said, where the inability for the body to wind down is we're in go mode all day. And then, maybe for the last hour of the day, we expect the body to be able to just flip a switch and relax and sleep, which is very much going against the natural rhythms. It's very much, going against the fact that we have a circadian rhythm. And somebody is running a lawnmower, so I apologize if you can pick that up on the microphone. But yeah, we have a circadian rhythm for a reason. Reasons of rhythm is because things are supposed to steadily go up and then steadily come down and then steadily go up again, right? It's supposed to be this dance, this flow. So if you're struggling when it comes to your sleep, I strongly recommend that you really start looking at your daytime and how you're experiencing that. And then the other thing that I would recommend is find ways to give yourself a break during the day. Because one of the things that really helped me is once I realized, okay, I can't just go through my days the way I've been going through, and I must give my body a taste of what it's like to rest, not necessarily sleep, but rest. One of the things that I did was I would use a practice like yoga nidra, at 2-3 in the afternoon, to be able to calm down and just rest for 45 minutes, for an hour. I found recordings on YouTube and I just followed them. And those were helpful for just getting me back on track and getting back into that space of rest. So I really, really strongly encourage that as something for you to experiment with, okay? Because whether you're in mid, like there's, again, I think my last video, I touched on the fact that we talk a lot about midlife and all these things just happen, but let's not forget that besides what your body's doing, just because you're in midlife, there is all of the environmental stuff, and we do not want to neglect their impact on every aspect of our health, especially sleep. And there's a lot that you can do with sleep without having to do a ton of gymnastics as far as relying on tons of products and tons of gadgets to track your sleep and stress you out even more about whether you're getting deep sleep or not getting deep sleep, because quite frankly, you don't need a device to tell you whether or not you're sleeping well or not. Like, that. But so as you can tell, I am not a fan of trackers. But that's neither here or there. Do what works for you. But I personally am just like, no, like, we all know when we're doing well and when we're not. So lean into that. Your body wants more of your presence, all right? So that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you are looking for more ways to simplify your health in midlife, you're looking for more resources to support your sleep holistically, to basically help you get back, sort of like in the driver's seat of your health and well-being, I want to invite you to come and join the Beyond Estrogen Collective. This is my brand new community. It's still just a few weeks old. We are steadily growing. We're just maybe like 14 of us right now, so it's still a small group. And what I'm offering in there, I've got herbal rituals. Right now we're wrapping up a week of, actually we're in the middle of a week where we're just experimenting with herbal teas. The other thing is, I'm also going to be releasing more resources in the coming month of June when it comes to sleep trainings and also recipes and other things to just support the body holistically. And again, even when it comes to recipes, it's not going to be like a one size fits all. It's going to be for everybody. If you're plant-based, you'll find stuff. If you're carnivore, you'll find stuff. If you're gluten-free, you'll find stuff. If you're not gluten-free, you'll find stuff. So it's, again, eat in a way that truly supports you right now where you are, because that is the only way that you will actually thrive and not just survive. So I'll leave a link to the Beyond Estrogen Collective if you are interested and you want to come check it out. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, share with anybody else that would benefit from this information. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.